Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Independent Truckers here at the Truckers Independent Broadcasting Network with John Grosvenor and Sean Mitchell. How you doing, Sean?
How you doing tonight, John?
Oh, same old, same old. Just kicking along.
Well, I haven't decided if I've got a bodyguard or a co-driver tonight.
Well, I don't think she's driving, so you got a bodyguard.
Well, I don't know. You look up there and tell me.
Oh, well. Just put her in gear and go. Look at those ears. I love those ears. I can't get over it. So, we got a little bit of trucking news going on here this week. It appears that Mira Joshi, Deputy Administrator of the FMCSA, has decided that the FMC is not good enough for her any longer. She decided to take a position as Deputy Mayor of Operations in New York City. She'll be gone in about a month. I don't know about you, Sean, but I'm kind of thinking maybe that suits me just fine. I see the thumbs up, so I'm pretty sure you're pretty happy about it yourself.
Why would you put somebody that was in charge of corrections in charge of the FMCSA?
Well, she was in charge of corrections. She was in charge of taxis and stuff within New York City at one point in time, and she really wasn't that successful. I've been watching for her full Senate confirmation as administrator of the FMCSA, and it's never come through. She's never had a full Senate confirmation, so I assume because of it, she decided she was going to move on. Between you and me, I think she's been a bit lost. She's kind of learning on the job, you know what I mean? She doesn't know anything about
Well, and that's the whole point. This is not a time to be learning on the job.
No, this isn't the time at all. Also, FMCSA News, it appears somebody we always known as Joey D has decided that he no longer wants to be with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration as of earlier this month. He decided to leave the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and join ranks over there at the Federal Transit Administration, I believe it is, FTA. Joey's been quite a character. We've all had a lot of interactions with him. In some ways, I think we might miss him, but, we want to wish him well over there at FTA at any rate. Joey...
Now, John, I always considered Joey D like a father.
A father?
The farther he stays away from me, the better off I am.
The better you feel, huh? The more comfortable you become. Well, he's a long ways away now. He's left the FMCSA. So, but we want to wish him well just the same. And if he happens to be listening, Joe, we think it's going to get awfully boring over there for you at the FTA. So, you got the digits to many of us truckers, and you need a little excitement in your life, give us a call. We'll be happy to give you another fresh new headache.
Oh, well, and we'll always call a couple of friends that we know that just love to talk to him.
We got lots. We have lots. So yeah, he is. He can always be in good company.
I'm sure Scott Reed would love to have a conversation with him at some point, and I know the Schmitz definitely would.
Not that he can do anything for us now. Not that he did anything for us before. Not that. Although I gotta give him credit, he's been pretty good about coming out to the events and meeting with the truck drivers and interacting with us and all that good stuff. I mean, I'll give him credit in that regard, but I don't know. I don't know of anything that's ever been accomplished through Joey or anything like that. But
I know when the hard questions got asked, he bailed on them every time.
Oh, he was good at circumventing questions. He was quite adequate. He could get around your questions.
There was 2 or 3 people that popped the almighty question: if we're doing so much about truck safety, why is Swift still in business? And each time they were either shut down or the topic got changed. I'd like to know the answer to that myself, but it's probably like finding Jimmy Hoffa. We'll never know.
We've always felt that maybe Swift was circumventing the rules a little bit by buying extra trucks, have them sitting around so their CSA score looks better. They have advantages that the small guys don't have. Speaking of special advantages, what other news do we have here, Sean? Was there something about a new study shows accidents increased after ELD implementation?
But I thought it was supposed to say, wait a minute. I thought this was supposed to save 26 lives a year.
Well, apparently it's not, according to this study. In fact, more and more people are dying every year as the result of using the electronic logging device, according to this. So this study, new study by the Supply Chain Management Research Center at the University of Arkansas found that the federal ELD mandate has not reduced accidents as planned. Of course, we knew this at the beginning. We've told them at the FMCSA, including our friend Joey, that this wasn't going to work well and it was going to amount to more accidents on the road. And, apparently this study has proven our statements and claims to be true. In fact, according to the study, accidents increased. Surprisingly, the number of accidents for most affected carriers, those operators for whom the federal mandate was intended, did not decrease, said Andrew Balthrop, research associate with Sam W. Walton College of Business. In fact, following the implementation of the mandate, accidents among small carriers and independent owner-operators increased relative to large asset-based carriers. Let's see. In the new study, Balthrop analyzed data directly from the FMCSA to determine whether the implementation of the ELDs decreased the occurrence of accidents for drivers. While large trucking companies have been using ELDs for years before the mandate, the implementation of the mandates in smaller fleets and independent owner-operators took the industry by storm. The new study finds that the mandate did not impact the large fleets when it came to accidents, as they already had them. We told them this crap. We told them because they already use them, it's not going to impact them. But the smaller fleets actually
3 years ago
of 9% in accidents, while independent owner-operators saw an even higher percentage of accidents at 11.6%. Our results indicate the electronic device mandate did not immediately achieve its goal of reducing accidents, Balthrop said. Drivers have reacted in ways the FMCSA has not fully anticipated. And these behaviors should be accounted for as the FMCSA revisits their service policies. All right. Are you sure this is new? I mean, this came out in 2000. This came out this year, December 16th of this year. But the way they worded that, I'm wondering what the heck. They did have one of these come out a couple years ago too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. But we told them all this 3 years ago, John, and they just all acted like we didn't know what we were talking about.
No.
I mean, how many times have you said it? With the ELD and the new hours of service, we were set up to fail.
Yeah, that's basically what it is, a setup for failure. We said this a number of times. The regulations is from deregulation. In fact, there's a gentleman who wrote a book, Trucking America's Last Sweatshop by Mike Belazar, and he had said that very same thing. He said since deregulation, the industry's been set up to fail. They're operating at about 50% capacity of pay rates or rates in the industry. So where if you're making $1.80 a mile or $7.60 a mile, you should be making like $3.20, 360 a mile. It's ridiculous because the rates have failed to keep up. Of course, we've seen an increase with because we're into under capacity of drivers now. We've seen some rate increases this year, but we did struggle through the bloodbath of 2019. So, but they never listened to us, man. They never listened to a darn word we said, And it's funny because generals take their cues from people on the front lines, right? If they're not willing to listen to the men on the front lines doing the battles, they're not going to know how to position their men in the future and position their new, support teams and stuff. You got to know what's going on the front lines in order to figure out how you're going to strategize your next moves. And the FMCSA has failed to do that with us. We sat there and we told them time and time again they're wrong. And time again, they've ignored us. Too many of us have witnessed that. So what else?
In short, we're just dumb old truck drivers.
Yeah, I guess that's what they think. We're just a dumb old truck drivers.
What else we got before I go off?
Yeah. You thinking you're not going to be able to stick around long, huh?
No.
So I guess it's going to be a short one tonight. But, we didn't wish anybody a Merry Christmas. I mean, it is Merry Christmas. We're less than a week away from Christmas. It's this Saturday. So we do want to wish everybody Merry Christmas. Anybody that's listening tonight, we want to wish you well. We hope you get home to your families and safe and sound, of course. And
well, we also wish you a Happy New Year. This will be the last show of the year. And John and I decided we'll go ahead and put one out tonight. The guest that we had a schedule to show up, we failed to mention also. She is having weather problems, and they lost all their power down in Miami. So whether she comes in yet or not has remained to be seen. I do hope Jenna comes in.
Joan had something special lined up with her, some pet project she was working on, and what was that, for homeschooling, right, Sean? That was kind of like...
Well, I was going to ask her what was going on, because 3 states right now are doing scholarship for home states, or homeschooling for scholarships. Utah, Arizona, and Florida are doing this, and I was wanting to get a little bit more in depth and detail of what they were doing and how it was actually going to work for homeschooling. It's something that's kind of close to me right now, so I was curious to see how all that worked.
I think a lot of people are starting to lean towards that, especially with the COVID and stuff going on, with the mandates and ridiculousness stuff. They want to keep their kids more into an environment. You got critical race theory and things going on in schools now, and people are just not happy with it. Not at all happy with it.
Well, and they're not only not happy with the curriculums of what the schools are putting out. I mean, how many videos have we seen where parents have been subpoenaing school board members? One video I saw, the chief of police actually went and talked to the judge and told the school board either they resigned tonight or tomorrow morning they were pressing charges. I wished I would have found out what town that was, but he was very serious about it, and it was not one of those ha 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 look at me videos. I just think that you're going to see a lot more homeschooling now is what you're going to end up seeing.
Yeah.
Because parents are tired of it.
I like homeschooling. There's great programs for it, where people can, you don't just keep your own kid at school or home all the time to teach them, but you're going to have interaction with other parents doing this. They got programs like this. You can create field trips together, and so you're following a certain curriculum and stuff. It's kind of nice.
Well, and I think with COVID first kicking off, I think that was the alternative to my kid can still learn and be at home at the same time.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea. If you can do it,
And I even do know that some of the parents have been sitting in with these kids while they're being homeschooled so they can help their kids with their homework as far as what they're learning and the proper way to guide them into where they can use their brain for knowledge.
Well, the thing of it too is parental interaction with the child's life as they're growing up.
Right.
You're molding your kid. It's not a complete and total stranger. And that can make a difference. But like I was beginning to say, it's a matter of making some sacrifice sometimes because somebody's got to be home to do it, and that means they're not going to be at work. So you need to, people need to figure out how they're going. And my wife and I did stuff like that. We kind of, instead of buying a brand new car every year or every 2 years or something, you made some sacrifices. We drove a little bit of a beater, but it benefited raising our daughter. So there's some things more important than money, and there's some things more important than materialism. At least that's my perspective.
I back those programs, providing the kid is actually getting something out of it, and he or she is actually getting what they need for education. I thoroughly back something like that.
I met a family in Pennsylvania one time. They had a Kenworth tractor with a big 53-foot trailer, and they converted the trailer into an RV. The whole family was in there. Mom was teaching the kids school. So they're basically traveling across the country. I think they were from Canada, come to think of it. But they were traveling across the country. They were teaching their kids, homeschooling their kids in the truck, plus giving them the education of traveling across the country. I don't know how he made a living. I don't remember what he told me he did, but it was kind of fascinating that he put this whole rig together and was doing this thing. It's kind of like a family outing sort of thing. It's kind of cool.
Well, like I say, I just hope this is going to turn out to be something of the positive. And
so, what other news we got?
Of course, I did write to my U.S. representative for my Christmas wish, and apparently I'm getting it.
Was this Bouchon?
Uh-huh.
And what was your wish?
They do something with the FMCSA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know if they're doing
Well,
it.
apparently they took note.
I can tell you that I know, looking at DiLorenzo, he did not look happy there for all these years. I really don't think he's been happy there at all. He looked like he just...
For all those that are not very familiar with Southern Indiana, and it was actually started out as a joke. There is actually a Santa Claus, Indiana. This is before they had zip codes out. And they thought it was a joke. So when they started giving out zip codes, the town actually applied for one and got it. Now, there's a little Indiana history for you, John. With that being said, Larry Bouchon's staff was down in Santa Claus, Indiana, going through all the mail. So I just put in my Dear Santa list. And I basically told him for the last 21 years, the FMCSA has been a total failure. They put nobody in there in charge that knows anything about trucking. Maybe it's time we have a change. Well, apparently Marisashi and Joey D must have read that. Because they're going bye-bye.
Yeah, they certainly got that idea. I'll tell you what, if you're just stepping in, we're talking about the fact that Joseph DiLorenzo has left the FMCSA, and Mayor Joshi's decided she's going to move on to become the deputy mayor of organization or operations in New York City.
So let me understand this. Marisashi says that your services are no longer required, but yet, though, she finally realizes that that's probably not a job for her.
Yeah. That's what the sum of it. So she did just hold a listing session in South Carolina recently. I don't know the complete and total details about it, but it's probably parking issues and supply chain issues and driver retention issues, because that's all they harped on all year long was supply chain and driver retention. That's been the whole.
Well, apparently Mara and Joey D are not the only ones that are quitting their jobs, John. Didn't we? You got another article up that's real interesting. Let's take a look at that.
Which one do I have?
Speaking of people that are leaving their positions.
I don't know. You probably sent me a link, but I don't recall.
22 Democrats will not be seeking re-election, folks.
Oh, it is here. I'm sorry. I do have that up. 22 No, I think it's changed to 23 Democrats. 23 Democrats
Oh,
now.
okay. They had one announce it out of Florida this morning. Who's the third? Who's 23?
Let's see if they give a list here. We already know DeFazio's leaving. We
Yeah.
can't praise him enough for getting the hell out of the way.
That one does kind of hit home with you, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's been kind of. See, Ann Kirkpatrick, Jackie Spieler, Ann Kirkpatrick of Arizona, retiring. Jackie Spieler of California, 14th District, retiring. Karen Bass, California, 37th District, running for mayor. Lucio Roybal, Allard, California. God, a lot of Californians, huh? Good, get rid of them. 40th District, retiring. Alan Lowenthal, California, 47th, retiring. Stephanie Murphy, Florida, 7th District, retiring. Val Demings, Florida, 10th District, running for Senate. Charlie Crist, Florida, 13th District, running for governor. Cherry Bustos, Illinois, 17th District, retiring. John Yarmus, Kentucky, 3rd District, retiring. Anthony Brown, out of Maryland, 4th District, running for Attorney General. G.K. Butterfield, North Carolina, 1st District, retiring. David Price, North Carolina, 4th District, retiring. Al Bio Sires, New Jersey, 8th District, retiring. Some of these names, I'll tell you what, they're about as bad as mine. Swatsea, New York, 3rd District, running for governor. Tim Ryan, Ohio, 13th, running for Senate. Peter DeFazio, Oregon, 4th District, retiring. We knew that one. Connor Lamb, Pennsylvania, 7th District, running for Senate. Mike Doyle, Pennsylvania, 18th District, retiring. Eddie Bernice Johnson, Texas, 30th District, retiring. Man, I sure wished, what's her name was in there? Can't think of her name now. Falmon, Beta, Texas, 34th District, retiring. Peter Welch, Vermont. What was that? BT-AL, running for Senate. That's where. Ron Kime, Wisconsin, 3rd District, retiring. And then you've got about 13 House Republicans that are also leaving.
Yes, but guess what I also read today? I thought it was so nice. Our favorite senator from Missouri is now leaving. He's retiring. The man that started the man that was pushing so hard for the ELD, Roy Blunt.
It's right here. Senator's not running for re-election in 2022. Richard Shelby. These are all Republicans. Roy Blunt's a Republican?
But Roy will not be seeking re-election.
Richard Shelby, Roy Blunt, Richard Burr, Rob Portman, Pat Toomey, and Patrick Leahy.
So there's a name.
These are all names. Toomey, Leahy, Burr, Blunt. Those are very familiar names. So yeah, it's interesting. But we also have the Great Dane trailers, Sean. If you wanted to cover that.
Oh, go ahead, John. If you got a brand new Great Dane trailer, you might want to listen to what John's about to read.
Great Dane trailers, as we're calling thousands of dry van and refrigerated trailers for an issue that could lead to catastrophic failure for hub bearings. Great Dane alerted the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, known as NHTSA, of the issue earlier this month, according to documents submitted. According to Great Dane, the recall affects certain 2022 Champion dry van and Everest refrigerated trailers. Great Dane started. I can't say it right. Great Dane stated it received a number of pre-assembled axles from SAF Holland's manufacturing plant located in Muskegon, Michigan, that were deficient on lubricant fill in the wheel wells. Great Dane stated inadequate fill levels in the wheel wells could lead to tapered roller bearings not receiving proper lubrication to support function. Basically, that means your bearings will burn up and roll off your axle and probably running into a car and kill a family of 4. So if you got a trailer of such, you definitely want to address that recall. And as a side note, it doesn't hurt from time to time to check with NHTSA. As part of the U.S. Department of Transportation, they do handle these recalls on vehicles. And quite often cars and trucks are listed there. So it doesn't hurt at all to check them, or you can wait till you do an annual vehicle inspection where they list the recalls on your vehicle when they do so. I don't know if they do that on big trucks. Have you ever seen that on a big truck? I've never seen that.
Mm-hmm. No.
No. I know on my car they tell me, oh yeah, you got 2 recalls on it. You need to get it in there. I'm like, yeah. I had those on there last year too. I'm just not doing it. I'm too lazy. Not that I see deeming a serious emergency, you know. Steering wheel lock. My Dodge Dakota did it 2 years ago. You know, the mechanism wouldn't release in the steering column. So it just means I'm not going anywhere until I get it to release. So.
I know when I had my Avalanche a few years back and it went through a recall, I just went ahead and had a bunch of work done to it and got it, that way I just got it all up and ready to go. But it was something simple for the sensors. But it had to do with the ABS brake system, and I thought that was pretty important, maybe to have it looked at least.
You know, Nikki, I read that in song. I really did. Sean got ran over by a reindeer walking home from John's house Christmas. Yeah, I can't. There you go. That's the best I could do for you.
Oh.
Thank you, Nikki.
I'm not touching that.
No, Sean can't have liquor, and that's the problem. He got right in that reindeer's path.
I'm not touching that one.
I thought it was. We've yet to introduce her to the workshop or give her the free tour of the boot factory.
You gave a couple people that free tour, haven't you?
Well, not yet. I mean, nobody's crossed my path.
I know one you missed.
I missed one?
Yeah. You had a golden opportunity 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Some people are awfully peculiar and should go visit the boot factory. Concrete footwear.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, that's brother.
He ended up sinking himself anyway.
Yeah, he did. I'm not too preoccupied with it. That's what you call history, man.
Speaking of history, John, let's dive back into some of what we did this year. So we met a couple of good friends in Kim Coleman and Janet Haig, and respectively, they've done very well for their states. But let's go into some other things that we also went into this last year. We've constantly told everybody about what was going to happen before it happened because we foresaw this. And yet, though, when we turn around and we point this out, we've always got somebody that thinks they've got the better idea. Well, my solution to that problem is if you think you got the better idea, maybe you better go ahead and speak up and just say what's on your mind. You're wondering where I'm going with this, aren't you?
I was going to say, continue on.
So, in short, for the last 3 years, there's too many names to even mention. I've always said that ELD is nothing but a damn death trap, and we proved that time and time again. But yet, though, my very quick question to this is, what is it going to take for somebody to finally up in Washington to turn the light on and say, gee, they were right?
I don't know. The question isn't whether they're going to acknowledge whether we were right or not. The question is, are they going to act on it? And that's the problem.
There you go.
Acted on it. There's so much that we could have done.
There you go.
There's so much that could have been done, and so many changes that could have been made that could have benefited everybody. The problem is you got people who can't think past themselves. They can't think outside the box. No, I'm not talking about truck drivers. I'm talking about the FMCSA. They want everything simple. They don't want to exert themselves. There's people that brought great ideas to the FMCSA. What do they say? Oh, I'm sorry, that's just too complicating for us to vet that. Well, so you basically want to just wrap it up in a nice little package, so it's nice and convenient for you, and make it a one-size-fits-all issue. And the problem is, or solution in that case, the problem is you can't make it a one-size-fits-all solution for such a complex industry as trucking. There's just no way you can do it. It's too vast. There's too many different, I can't say the word. It's too intricate, There's too many intricate parts to the trucking industry that you just can't make it one-size-fits-all. It's impossible to do and expect a good outcome, And when they make statements about, oh, well, we can't make an hour service rule that everybody can benefit from. Well, that means you picked losers somewhere. Somebody's a loser in this scenario. And that's what goes back to what we said at the beginning. Now you've got a situation where you set people up to fail. You said they have to follow the law, while yet the law is not working for them. And then you get an increase of fatalities. You scratch your head and say, but we don't know why. Because you're not listening, you bunch of jackwagons. I wish you were hearing me now. But then when I go to the MIXAC meeting, they give me 1 whole minute to speak. 1 minute. DJ wants to know when you're coming to New Hampshire, Sean. Oh, I think we have lost Sean. Yeah, we are waiting for Sean to come back in. But at any rate, that pretty much what it comes down to is if you can't make something that's going to work for the industry, then you can't expect anybody to see an increase in safety. And when we go to talk to them in 2017, they pretty much, would they come out and say, oh, wait a minute, we got them back here, hopefully. Nope. That's not it. They start coming out and talking about safety and stuff, but they really didn't come out with anything about what they're going to do to benefit or better the industry. And this is something else we're going to have to work on for next year is getting Sean a better phone. Throw me some thumbs up or something on that. Sean needs better equipment to work with if we're going to continue on. I'm all out of things to talk about, really. We just had a few select things to talk about, and we pretty much went through them. Sean's trying to come back in here. We'll see if he gets back in here. There he is.
Sorry about that.
So we're having a discussion here among myself that you're going to have to get better equipment for next year.
Actually, I'm going to work on that. I truly am. I'm going to work on that.
I feel for you, man. It's hard when you're trying to do something out of a truck, traveling across the country, and you can't tell if you're going to get a good.
Well, the nice thing about what we do, John, is you're in the studio and I'm always out on the road. So you never know what you see out here. You never know what you get to talk about. And sometimes an act of kindness can mean a lot, too, by just letting everybody know about it.
Right. I'm not following you, man. What were you talking about?
Well, sometimes when you see an act of kindness, it's nice to talk about that and let people know that there still are decent people in the world that are willing to help you every now and then.
Absolutely. Sometimes we do that in trucking, we get negative, we focus on the worst of things, and we don't talk about some of the better things or the better qualities in life. And there are a lot of nice things going on out there. We used to have, who used to do the Heroes of the Highway or Knights of the Highway awards and stuff like that?
Goodyear.
Goodyear used to do it? Yeah, and we used to have some things like that were kind of like uplifting to the industry as opposed to always talking about the negative stuff. I remember a driver once who made a statement that he no longer reads the trade magazines because every time you do it's just negative crap in there. It's the worst of the worst. There's nothing to make you feel good about what it is you do. It's always they're coming at you with new regulations, new BS, and new technology is going to make your life more miserable. Like what's that DEF solution stuff you all use? I don't use it.
Okay. Are we talking about Lana Lube again?
No. That wasn't this year. That was what was that, last year, right? Now, Sean, we're talking about uplifting stuff, and we're going back to railing on somebody we haven't heard from in a while.
I just asked a question.
Okay. Well, let's not bring her into it. Oh, poor kid. I don't know why I'm saying poor kid. She kind of brought that on herself, but never mind. So,
Good point.
Yep, Jeff has got a right damn Obama phone. You got an Obama phone, Sean? Did you get yours free from? You voted for Obama?
You really want me to come up New Hampshire and kick your ass, don't you?
You're welcome to try if you think you can, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh, okay. I'll be sure to bring my bodyguard with me too.
That might do it. That little thing might do it. I know mine nips me from time to time. I call him the biter. He's got me a few times.
She don't bite.
No.
But she lets you know. She'll definitely let you know when she's not happy.
Well, mine's got a bad hip, and if you hit him wrong, it really hurts. So sometimes he'll.
Oh well, yeah.
Or something. He doesn't. I think it's instinctual. But hang on a second, Sean. Let's see who this person is here. I think that they want to talk. Your line is open, caller. Oh, I did open it.
What do you know, boys?
You know that voice, don't you, Sean?
Ah!
The most dangerous woman in Texas.
What the hell is going on, man?
I don't know. How's Christmas treating you, Nikki? You having a Merry Christmas so far?
Oh, just living the dream, sitting here waiting to get loaded in the morning.
Oh.
Singing in my head.
Singing
hoping
in your head.
Sean gets ran over by a fucking reindeer.
You're hoping that?
Kind of funny.
Hoping Sean gets ran over. She wasn't accusing you to get ran over.
Well,
no, I'm not hoping it. Well, actually, I really am hoping it, and I hope it happens in front of me so I can cut his freaking head.
I'm gonna use one of your lines, John. We realize who we're dealing with. It's Sticky Nicky. So
Oh, man. That just came out one day because it rhymed. But
I called her something else one day, and she told me that song died, and you will too if you ever call me that again.
Oh, the Prince song?
Yes.
oh,
Darling Nikki.
yeah, that's.
Yeah, she said if I ever called her, that song died, and if I ever called her that, I too would join that song.
Yeah, so I did an act of random kindness today.
What'd you do?
One of our trucks got stuck at Walmart in Gas City because his appointment times were impossible. And he was set up to fail before he even left his load while he was trying to get home for Christmas because he has little girls. And I called him this morning and I told him, I said, well, I'm empty and I can come up to Gas City and you can take my trailer and I'll sit at Gas City and wait for Walmart to pull their head out of their asses because I would hate for you not to get home for Christmas. And he goes, you'd really do that for me? I said, yeah. He goes, you own your trailer, don't you? I said, yep. I said, it's the only one I got, so you can use it, but if you hurt it, I'll break your knees.
She means that.
So that kind of worked, didn't it? Does that count?
I think it counts as an act of kindness.
He didn't take it, thank God, because they cross-docked it, but it was, I didn't want to see him not get home to his little girls, you know?
Yeah.
And he knew I was joking about the knee breaking, but, you know, it is what it is. I get sick and tired of
Driver,
places.
if this driver's listening, she will break your knees. Don't let that smile fool you.
Oh, hell, I'd love to break someone's knee.
Jeff is telling you, Nikki, that was awesome on your part.
I'd make my day. That's on my bucket list.
What's on your bucket list?
Breaking someone's knees for free.
Oh.
That's just right below going out on a date with Leo.
Who the hell is Leo?
I'm thinking. Sean's gonna have to enlighten
Sean,
us.
who's Leo?
Be an inside joke that none of
You
us
don't know
know.
Leo.
No, who's that? What are you
Leo.
talking about?
Leo DiCaprio. How many? Oh. Okay.
I got no interest in him.
Nikki, what kind of conversations do you and Sean have when nobody else is around?
Zero
Would you
interest
like
in
to
him.
know?
I can't hear John, so I hear Sean, but I can't hear John.
Sometimes
So I guess I'm missing something.
I don't know why that happens with this phone system, but sometimes it does. It's on the system. I don't know why it's not working. Let's see if this changes. Does that help?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's just we got some bad circulation and with the Wi-Fi's
we
tonight,
might
John.
No, when people call in on their call-in number, sometimes they can't hear me too well. And I'm running the call-in on that number. I'm running it off the sound system, and when I change it to Samus system, I think it helped. Yeah, Jeff. I sometimes the operation I have going on here, I'm using several different platforms, and I've married them together, and so sometimes they don't want to exactly work well with each other. And then during the course of doing one of these, we're playing with audio. And sometimes it changes. I don't know. I think it changes on its own because I'll have everything all set up. I never touch it. And I come back. You're talking about an echo. Now I got to play around. I'm jumping from platform to platform to figure out where the echo is. And I find like the echo cancellation is been turned off, and I don't know why. Technology. It's great when it's until it's not. So no, Nikki, that was pretty cool. Are you going to make a home for Christmas yourself?
Oh, what's that?
I think you're starting to break up, but I was asking if you were going to make a home for Christmas yourself as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm just over here in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah,
You went robotic, Nikki.
Yeah.
You went robotic.
Okay. Oh, hang on.
She did. I think this has happened on her phone before, right? When you were in phone conversations with
Yeah, she just has to do that thing she does.
her? Yeah, with her headset or something. Yeah.
Okay.
There
I
you
don't
go.
know why it does it, but my phone does it. Yeah, but I hope I have to work through Friday because I'll be home for Christmas by myself.
What?
So I don't really want to go home to an empty house.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So
I've always been home for Christmas myself. I usually come home when I was over the road. I always like to get home for Christmas, and that was it. I was done for the rest of the year. I wasn't going back out until New Year's.
I think there's been a few drivers that have done that this year. They've went home right before Christmas. They ain't coming back out till the first of the year.
What's the point? You might as well just call it a year, be done with it. Finish it off, stay home, stay out of all the drunken traffic, and it's all cleaned up and gone.
Well, and I think that's got a lot to do with it. And some of the older drivers are at the point in their lives that, hey, we don't have to run like that anymore.
I just quit running hard. I just quit doing it. I just got sick and tired of it, Sometimes you get burned out, Running too hard.
You do get burned out, and that's kind of another thing you have to watch is, some guys, they come out here and they think they're going to go balls to the wall, and then 6 months later, they're burning themselves out. Now the mental health issues start because you should have took time off and took care of yourself.
6 months. 6 months. Oh, it took a lot longer than 6 months for me to start feeling that way. I was young too, though. I ran, man, 24/7 right around the clock. You know what I mean? Let's just say when I had my first conversation with Wiley Deck way back in 2017, I didn't mind telling him, yeah, I cheated my logbook. What do you think? Of course I cheated my logbook. I didn't mind admitting it. I'm like, the hell with this, dude. Your regulations don't make sense. They don't work. The only way I can be safe and productive at the same time, yeah, I cheated the hell out of that book. No, I don't use them.
Well, yeah, and they didn't work then, and they're not really working now.
They don't work. Like we're reading the article, they don't work at all. I mean, some people they work for, right? Some people are happy with it, and some people they just don't work. You know, accidents have increased with the use of the ELD. The stresses have increased. They've compounded, so they're not working.
Well, no, and then you got drivers that are not using common sense to say, well, I'm tired, I need to go to bed, but yet though my trusty Japanese slot machine / ELD says I've got 7 hours to drive.
Yeah, but there's no excuse for that, right?
No, common sense would be to go to bed.
And this is what gets me. People go, well, I like my ELD because the dispatcher can't force me to drive because when I'm out of hours, I'm out of hours. You know, we used to run our logbooks out too when we needed to rest. You remember that? You just run them out and tell them, I'm sorry, I just ran out. I can't go anywhere. You had advantages to that paper log that people don't realize you don't have with the ELD now. They've taken that away. But
I think some of it's just the simple fact they don't want to fill out a logbook every day, and the computer pretty much does it for them.
yeah, well, there's a lazy factor. And I don't begrudge anybody that wants to use an ELD. That's fine. You know, it's a personal choice, and that's how it should be. You should have personal
Oh, I
choice.
agree. But then again, John, my main stance against that's always been, why am I being forced to use a government mandated device without doing just compensation? But yet, though, all the work that I put into it, the boys up in Washington are having fun with all that data.
Yeah. Now I get it. You get to pay for it, and they get to use it. So, but the other thing is too, you know, I mean, there's a section in the regulation 392.3. We all know ill and fatigued. I mean, if you're ill and fatigued, that too, and it has an anti-coercion rule. That too works in your favor. You can have all the hours in the world, right? You can just came off a 10-hour break but never slept and turn around and say, listen, I had this Bradlin reef hook rolled up beside me. I had nowhere I could move to. I was stuck with it all night. I didn't sleep for crap, and I'm too tired of driving. It's not going to happen. It's simply because you said 392.3 ill and fatigued and I can't drive because I'm too damn tired. They are not supposed to say another word to you. That's it. But guys can't seem to get it in their head they can use these things. They can say no. Instead, they say, well, I love my ELD because, well, once I'm out of hours, it shows on the computer and nobody can force me to drive.
Okay, I'll buy that statement. You see it, your dispatcher sees it. You ain't supposed to go nowhere.
But they don't have to see it. That's my point. They don't have to see it. You just simply have to say it. You simply just have
That
to
would
say
probably
it.
be,
That's
yeah,
it.
that right there would probably be. But you got to remember, John, or in the early years too, you tell a dispatcher that, and they would be,
Yeah, you know how many times I threw the keys across the table and say, here, if you can do it better, you do it. I'll go home. I don't care one way or another. Don't need to have the keys come back.
you know,
You know?
it was just a couple of years ago. I picked up a load out of North Carolina going up to Minnesota, and I called the broker, and I told him, I said, look, I'm running in bad weather. I said, I'm going to be running behind. Well, I've got to have that load there at 9 o'clock. I said, well, I'm sorry, but roads are slick. They're snow covered. There's black ice, and that's the way it is. His very next question to me was, how many hours you got left? What does hours have to do with the fact with weather conditions?
It doesn't have anything to do with weather conditions. It doesn't matter. You can have a million of them, but if you can't drive on the road, you can't drive on the roads.
You know, And this, company drivers, you pretty much got to go by the way your company route does you. But, owner operators, you got a little bit more of a leadway. It's not only your life that's out there on the line like a company driver, but you've also got your billfold in that truck. And you have to decide what's going to be safe and what's not safe.
Sean, did you have something you wanted to talk about with somebody getting 110 years?
Oh, yes. Let's have a quick conversation about that before we go off the air. So earlier this week, the driver that jumped in the truck with faulty brakes and went down the mountain in Colorado received 110 years in prison. Now, there's been a lot of controversy over this. Some people say it was unjust of too much time and served. Some people say he got what he deserved. I look at the stance as he was found guilty. The judge gave him his sentence. That's it. Now, with that being said, I did read an article, there is over 3 million signatures on a petition for a lighter sentence.
So,
my whole point of this is simple. You jumped in that truck. You turned the key. If you knew the brakes were bad, you shouldn't have turned the key.
See, my issue is that they'll go any Yahoo have a DOT authority. In fact, we don't even know people in this country are running trucking companies from other countries, right? They can be in Bosnia by having a U.S. address, have a DOT authority, and running a trucking company. We don't even know. But the biggest thing is people don't know what they're doing in the trucking industry. They don't know the trucking industry. They get in over the head. They think they're going to make big money because they're going to start their own trucking company. And they find out what the profits really are, that they're really slim and almost non-existent. So then they start giving out misinformation to these truck drivers. Well, you're not going to get in trouble for this. You're not going to get in trouble for that. Just run the load driver. And so the problem becomes that these drivers get caught up in this whirlwind of people that want to make money, and they put them into positions that are disagreeable. Like this kid that's, he's 22 years old. He's probably not very knowledgeable. He's young. He's impressionable. And now he's got somebody in authoritative position. I don't know if you're familiar with the Milgram experiment, but in 1964, there was a psychiatrist out of Yale University who was listening to the Nuremberg trials. The Nuremberg trials were, of course, the World War II trials for war crimes. And the answer that most defendants gave during those trials was, I was only doing as I was ordered. And so they committed these heinous acts, they committed these heinous crimes against humanity, and their response is, but I was ordered to by the person in an authoritative position over me. So it excuses their behavior, right? Apparently not, because they went to jail or they were penalized. But the point is he decided, well, is that true? Is there a psychology that people who feel that somebody has a position of authority over them alleviates them of any responsibility? So he performed a study. So long story short, this during the course of the study, where participants thought they were actually causing bodily harm to other participants. So he set it up. Obviously, nobody was getting physically harmed, but he set it up to make them think they were. And there was always a person in a position of authority during these studies. These studies were kind of considered controversial because you couldn't imitate them today. You couldn't redo them today because of the impacts that they actually had on the participants were questionable. But the point was, he concluded after doing many of these studies that people who are in a submissive position or under somebody else's authority are more than likely to feel they're not held responsible if they're only following authority. They're only following directions from an authoritative person. So when you get a young kid like this who has some boss over his head and he's only doing as he's told, and he's running the truck because he's told to run the truck, he's kind of falling victim psychologically. He's falling victim to a person who is in an authoritative position, who should know. If your brakes are failing, you should not be running the truck down a mountain grade. Who should know the federal laws? And the problem is, these people have these trucking companies. These people are running these trucking companies. They're holding a position of authority over a young, impressionable man, and they're directing this guy to do the wrong things. And they don't even know the federal laws themselves. And I've run into people many, many times. I'll run into people who don't understand the federal laws, or they have a very limited knowledge, and they're safety directors, or they're in positions of authority over other people. They own trucking companies. I've worked for trucking companies. I'm looking at them going, you can't do that. Well, yeah, I can. And then I tell them about the consequences. They go, well, they're not going to put me in jail, man. I got 4 kids to raise. Let me tell you guys something. The United States government does not give one iota of a rat's ass crap about your offspring. They've got special homes they will put your children in while your ass gets carted off to jail. But this is the logic you're dealing with. You got people who don't even know the laws, don't even know the regulations, and then they make stupid statements like that. It's about time that the DOT took some responsibility of their own. They made regulations that work. They made laws that work, and they start vetting people in who want a position, who want to have a DOT authority. And I think we've lost Sean again. You know, it's time that the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration got off their ass and actually did something to make a difference, as opposed to constantly putting the blame on the driver, constantly making the accusations on the driver. Every time that they make a regulation, and more people are dying as a result of the regulations, and they say, we don't know what's going on, we got to stop these drivers from doing things. You know, we got to make new regulations and put more stress on these drivers. They can't even fix the parking issues, but yet they're going to make a regulation, or they're going to put an ELD into place that just doesn't alleviate the hours of service rules. You know, if the hours of service rules are broken, why are you trying to force people to stick to them? But that's what they did. So we have lost Sean, and that was probably pretty much the last of it anyway. And he is coming back in. It's about time I'm ready to close it up. Say, okay, Sean's fell off. And,
yeah, I figured I'd come back in so we can close out, because evidently sitting in a rest area on top of a mountaintop, it's causing some problems. But I mean, what you said, John, I can understand where you're coming from with this. But this comes to also a case of people need to learn to think for themselves, too.
They do. Absolutely.
So, with that being said, don't forget, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, John will be on the big radio with the Common Conservative, Chris Wyatt.
Common Sense Conservatives.
Yes, with Chris Wyatt and Todd McKinley. Don't forget to don't miss that one. They usually have some pretty good topics. And John, we don't know when we're going to be back next year, do we?
We haven't set a date. We're trying to work on a few things. We're trying to restructure our platform, something that might be a little more conducive to what it is we want to do and accomplish. So I've been racking my brain pretty hard, doing a lot of hard work trying to get video players and stuff, and get some knowledge on how video players work and stuff, so that we can kind of build a better platform. So I want to dedicate a little time to that, and hopefully, just be a few weeks or something. Mid-January, something like that. I think the girls want to come back somewhere around the same time, mid-January to late January. They kind of felt a little burnout, a little stress for the holidays, so they want to take time off.
So sometime next year, we will make an announcement on the TIBN's Facebook page of when we'll be coming back. And John, that's all I've got for tonight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. And we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, or Happy Holidays, whichever applies best to you. And as always, keep the easy side down, the shiny side up, in between the lines, and safe travels wherever it is that you may be going. And